to load up and TikTok. Guys, leave me an emoji in the comments. Just let me know that you can hear me, you can see me okay. Show me some love on Instagram. Hit the thumbs up if you're on YouTube, and hit like and give it a share if you're watching on Facebook. Double tap you guys on TikTok. Just going to move you guys around a little bit. Sweet, cool. So we are live for the second time today because before, basically, a little story. Over this past 2 weeks, I'm with BT Internet and it keeps cutting out. They're absolutely shite, to be fair. There's a problem, an external problem. And I've been on the phone to their technical support team 11 times over the past 2 weeks, and no one's been out to sort it. So when I was in the thick of things, in the flow before delivering the value to you guys, it just fucking went out. So I had to delete everything, delete the podcast that I recorded. So we're live for the second time today. BT, fuck you. You load of bellends. Excuse my French. But first world problems, in it. But anyway, we're live, and hopefully the stream's going to hold up this time. Cool. So, right. Someone leave an emoji in the comments. Let me know you can hear me. You can see me. If you're watching this on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. We've got a good one lined up. We've got a good one lined up today, which is going to be 3 tips for eating out as a type 1 diabetic. I'm going to give it like 30 seconds, and then we will get going. Got 6 of you on Instagram now. 3 on Facebook. Got 1 on YouTube, and we've got 6 on TikTok. What's happening? Cool. Right. Shall we hit record? Shall we get going with this episode? I think we fucking should, shouldn't we? Right. 3, 2, 1. Yes, gang. Welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Movement Podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to be chatting about 3 tips for eating out as a Type 1. Now, I'm not just going to give you these 3 tips. I'm going to give you things to consider, things that I've found, things that we found with clients, right? So before we get started, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app. 5 stars, please, if you get value from it, as it really does help me reach more type 1 diabetics and positively impact our community. Also, whatever device or platform you're listening to it on, give it a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, tag me at type1_Tom, and on your Facebook so I can reach out and say thank you. I love it when you guys do that. So I feel like I've not done a live for a while. Mind you, it's only been a few fucking days. But a little side story, I've been super busy on building out like our new client course. So when you join my programs, my clients, they all get access to what's called the Blood Glucose Management System course. Now, I will say this course has been in the making for 3 or 4 years, and it is fucking, might be me being biased, but it's helped over 250 type 1 diabetics improve the glucose control. And the trainings that we've got in there, excuse me, there's a lot of trainings in there. So it's all your basics, like obviously bits around mindset, how to run basal tests, pens and pumps, testing insulin to carb ratio, bolusing for fats, proteins, all that sort of stuff. But then trainings about keeping it livable and sustainable as well. And I've been migrating it by myself because I'm pretty good with computers and that, all over to a more user-friendly platform. And this is kind of one of the things why I wanted to speak about eating out as a type 1, because I feel like this shit cannot be found in a book. This shit cannot be found in a book. Yeah, you need to, it can't be just like you go to a specialist and be able to give you tips, because there's no rules to be written for this. You only understand this sort of stuff. It's like eating out, drinking alcohol, managing stress, all that sort of stuff, unless you're actually a type 1 who lives with it. These are the sort of things that we have to manage that can't be written in a fucking textbook, right? And that's why I want to come and deliver this value to you guys now, because look, at the end of the day, the goal is to have a life while still having great glucose control. You know what? If we never ate out, we never drank, we never got stressed, we never had a life, yeah, we probably all have fucking great glucose control, right? But that's not a good way to live, yeah? So that's basically like kind of why I want to do this and why I've been so busy at the moment. So all my clients listening to this, I cannot wait for you guys to get into this new course. I really can't. I really can't. And if you're not on my coaching program, what are you playing at? Drop me a DM, say BG, and we'll have a chat, see if I can help. Right, I want to just get into this now. And I want to, before I give you these 3 tips, I want to give you like a few things to consider when you're eating out. A few things to consider. Now, you need to understand this as type 1s. There is a huge margin for error when we eat out. A huge margin for error. And the reason for that is this. Yeah? Different portion sizes. You could go to, let's say you go to McDonald's and you get a cheeseburger and chips. You can't guarantee The burgers are going to be the same size, and they're probably not going to be too bad, right? But the chips are going to be the same portion all the time. You can't guarantee that. Whereas if you're weighing your food out yourself, you probably can. Yeah. So the things to consider is there's a lot of margin for error for us to get things wrong when we're eating out. But that shouldn't be a reason why you never go and eat out. That shouldn't be a reason. Yeah. And also, like I say, different portion sizes. Chances are when we're eating out, we're eating high fat, high carb meals. If you go out and have a salad, sorry, we can't be mates. I'm not being mates with you. No, I'm joking. But even if you do go out and have a salad, it's probably drenched in a high fat dressing. So you've got something to consider there. And also, one thing to keep in mind is the chefs do not give a fuck that we're type 1s. Their sole job is to make the food taste good. Yeah. Their sole job is to make the food taste good. So we keep going back. Yeah. So that's one thing I want you to consider when you're eating out. You are going to have a bigger margin for error for you to get highs or lows than you will have when you're planning and prepping your food yourself. But this doesn't mean that you shouldn't do this every once in a while. Yeah. Now, I will say, though, if you're eating out a lot, like every day, if you're eating out, then if you're having trouble with your blood glucose levels, loads of highs, loads of lows, also if you've got body goals, chances are you probably shouldn't be eating out every day. Yeah. Chances are you probably shouldn't be eating out every day. And then it comes down to health reasons and what you are eating. Things by eating out, team, I mean like going to restaurants, having these sort of, sort of meals. I mean, I don't mean going to like a petrol station and getting a meal deal or Tesco and getting a meal deal. They're simple. You can scan the barcode in MyFitnessPal, which we'll get onto soon. They're simple. I mean actually eating out at restaurants and stuff. Burgers, chips, pastas. Do you know what I mean? All that sort of good food. So, right. There are things to consider before we get into it. Now, I want to give you 3 tips that I tell all my clients that really help me as well, that I still actually use when I eat out. And the first one is use MyFitnessPal, the food tracking app. Look, if you don't know what it is, go and download it, go on YouTube and watch a tutorial video of it. Yeah. If you're my client, you'll know what it is. We've also got like your guide in the course, so you know how to use MyFitnessPal. But look, the reason that I say this, if you go out and you go to a restaurant and you sit down and your meal comes and you're trying to fucking throw shit at a wall and guesstimate the carbs, the fats, and the proteins, you're giving yourself an even bigger margin for error than what you already have from the things that I discussed before. Because not only do you have the things that we discussed before that we can't really control, the amount of fats that put in, the portion sizes, you're now guesstimating the amount of carbs, fats, and proteins. So you're widening your chances, well, lessening your chances for success with bolusing for it. So if you're using an app like MyFitnessPal, it has all the big branch food chain restaurants in there. So McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, all those sort of things are in there. And it's going to give you the carbs, the fats, and the proteins. Now, let's say, so that's the first thing. Let's say you go to a restaurant that isn't a big chain and it's not on MyFitnessPal. What do you do then? Find the meal that you're having and search for it. Let's say we go to an Italian, it's not on MyFitnessPal, and we get spaghetti carbonara. Go into MyFitnessPal, use the search options, spaghetti carbonara, pick one, make sure that it's got your calories, but more importantly, your macros, your carbs, fats, and your proteins, because some of them don't. That's going to get you in the ballpark for carb counting much better than you just fucking winging it. Yeah. So that's the first tip. Use MyFitnessPal. If it's a big branch fast food restaurant chain, it's going to be in there. The database is huge. If not, search for the meal that you're having in MyFitnessPal, and that'll get you in the ballpark. The only guesstimating that you're going to have to do when doing that is the portion size. But I prefer to have to guesstimate the portion size than guesstimate the carbs, the fats, and the proteins. That's for fucking sure, right? So that's the first tip. Use MyFitnessPal. The second tip. This I covered a bit at the start. Now, these meals that we eat out are probably going to be high in fat, and they're probably going to be high in carbs as well. So if you don't know or you do, I'm going to fucking tell you now, this will need an extended bolus if you're on a pump or a split bolus if you're using pens. I'm not going to get too scientific, but fat slows the digestive process of the carbs down. And this is why, if you've ever been out for a meal and you've been like, right, I think there's X amount of carbs in this, I'm going to bolus X amount right now. And then 3, 4, 5 hours down the line, you're getting a huge fuck off spike. It's because of this. So chances are, if you are eating out, even if I'd say you're going to eat in a salad, well, it's like covered in a high fat dressing, maybe you got a bit of bread with it, it's still going to be high in fat. Definitely if you're having burgers, chips, pizzas, any pastas, all that sort of good shit that we normally have when we eat out, it's going to be high in fat because it's made to taste well by the chef. So it's going to need for us an extended bolus if you're on a pump or a split bolus if you're on pens. I did a full podcast episode on bolusing for high fat meals, so I'm not going to talk you through how to extend a bolus, how to split a bolus. I've already done that. Yeah. And the third one, the third tip that I can give you is a big one, because if you understand about pre-bolusing, it can be very difficult to pre-bolus when we're eating out because we don't know how long the food's going to be. And I get asked this question a lot. Yeah. So what I do when I eat out is when I've ordered my food, I will give myself a very small bolus of insulin. Sometimes for me, 1 to 2 units, just because then I know I've got a little bit of insulin on board. I'm not going to think, right, I'm having a burger and chips. I'm going to half it, so I know I'm going to split it. I'm going to give the full half up front when I've ordered, because what if something happens and it doesn't come out on time? So what I do to cover myself, this is how I get around the pre-bolus. A lot of my best clients have done this as well, is I give myself a very, very small bolus once I've ordered the food. Yeah. So at least I've got a bit of active insulin on board there when I'm ordering the food. So guys, I'm going to recap those 3 tips that I would highly recommend you use when eating out. And this is what me and my clients use. The first one, stop throwing shit at a wall and guesstimating your macros, your carbs and your fats and your proteins in your meals when you're eating out. Go and download MyFitnessPal. The chances are you're probably fucking using it anyway. Go and download that. Search for your meal in that, because that's going to get you in the ballpark. It won't be exact, but it's much, much better than you guesstimating. Tip number 2 is be prepared to do an extended bolus if you're on a pump, or a split bolus if you're on pens, MDI, because the meals that we eat out generally are high fat, high carb meals. So you do need a split. And then the third one is the pre-bolus trick. What I always do is I give myself a very small bolus when I've ordered the food, so at least I've got some active insulin on board. Now, there's a big thing that I want to say from this team, and it's this. You're not going to get it right first time. You might do, but chances are you're not going to get it right first time. You're not going to go and implement these tips next time you eat out and you stay in range, you stay in your target range, don't get much of a spike, things are hunky-dory. If you do, mega. But the majority of the time, this is just going to get you into the ballpark. What you're going to have to do is have a look at the data that you get when you've eaten out and be like, right, well, I went low there, I went high there, or this. This is going to get you a decent amount of data, in opposed to you winging your carb count, giving the full amount up front, having a low, then having a high and being all over the fucking place. That's what we want to avoid. The more that you do this, I'm not saying eat out every fucking day, I've just said that, but the more that you do this, the better you will become at it. Like anything we've managed on our diabetes, it's a skill. It's a skill, and skills are something that as you implement, you get better at. As you put more reps in, you get better at. So as you start to apply this more and more, like with the whole of managing our diabetes, you get better at it. Yeah. But I do want to make you aware of that. Chances are, if you go and do this, you eat out, you're probably not going to get it right first time. And you know what? Even me now, like I went out for fish and chips with Fred, my co-coach, when she come over like last week. And I did whatever I thought was right. And I still had a low about 90 minutes after having it. Still had a low. Because eating out is hard to guesstimate. There's a big margin for error. Even I sometimes get it wrong when eating out. Yeah. Even I sometimes get it wrong. You're not going to be bang on. There's a huge margin for error when you eat out. But what I want to get across with this is I don't want you to be scared of eating out because you think it's going to send your blood sugar skew with. Because then you're never going to face that issue. You're never going to overcome it because you're not willing to face it. And it's the same with a lot of us as type 1s. If we've got an issue that we're kind of scared of, you need to go and fucking face it, else you're never going to learn. Yeah, you'll never learn. Team, that is it. If you got value from this episode, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app, as it really does help me reach more type 1 diabetics. And also, like I said, give it a share, give it a screenshot, share it to your Instagram stories. I hope you got value from this episode, and I hope it's given you a bit of drive and a bit of motivation and clarity on next time you're going eating out. And I'm only joking. If you love a salad when you eat out, that's on you. Thank you very much for listening. Until the next episode, peace. Right, gang, do we have any questions from anyone that's on? anything about eating out or anything that you would like to ask me. I've got a bit of free time in between checking calls, so I'm quite happy to answer any questions with you guys. Have a quick look through Facebook. I finally met you on live rather than watch after. Thanks, Sammy. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some value from the episode. Quick look for you guys on Instagram. Thanks for jumping on, team. Hey, TJ Herbal Style. Hope you're good. Tammy, you're welcome. Greek Girl Food, you're welcome. Thank you, Katie. Cool. Right, mega. Hopefully you guys got some value from that. Take it we've got no questions. We actually got it fucking done. Second time lucky. Internet stayed on. We didn't cut off. Mega. Happy fucking days. Right, team. Thank you very much for watching, for lending me your eyes and ears, as I always say. And until the next live, have a fucking great day. Peace.